let's talk all of the highlights of Heatwave Arena. Let's get this new set that's dropping in Japan. Let's talk about it now. This is Metro Nerd Mars on the Metro Nerd Gaming channel, and today we're gonna talk. So, Heatwave Arena is going to be the Japanese set that is dropping, I believe, this weekend in Japan. It is happening, yeah. So it'll be this Friday. And this is the full set. We're gonna talk about all the highlights of the set right now. Let's start off with Ethan's Princer. So for 1 grass energy, it does 20 damage, but for triple colorless, 1 point return, 70 damage. And if any of Ethan's Pokemon were knocked out by damage from the opponent's Pokemon from the last turn, it does 100 more damage. So 170 is really respectable damage. It's picking up a KO off of a weakened Pokemon, so I think that's pretty chill. And it works real synergy with Ethan's Ho-Ho, which just lets you put 2 fire energies down on your bench Pokemon, so that's super cool. So Ethan's Princer, really good. You got Mega EX with Buzz Boost. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from the bench to the active, you may search your deck for 3 basic energies and attach them to this Pokemon. And since this is 3 grass and 1 colorless for 210, you do have to move the energy. That's pretty much a 1-turn power up. 210 for 1 turn, and then you get to spread the energy that you have on it to other Pokemon, setting up other attackers. That's not a bad idea. You can get a couple of these Yanmegas in play, and it will just be Yanmega, attack, move energies to another Yanmega, swap out, put an energy on it, attack. Like, you just swapping off Yanmegas. Okay, now let's talk about some of the GOATs. We have Cynthia's Roserade. So we talked about it already a few times, but trainer Pokemon are coming back. Cynthia's Roserade lets all Cynthia's Pokemon attack do 30 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance, which is crazy good. This does stack, so if you have more than one, you're going to be able to do more damage. I think Cynthia's Pokemon are going to be some of the strongest Pokemon next to my boy, but we'll talk about that as we get through the rest of the releases. We're now to Shaman with Flower Curtain. The ability Flower Curtain. Prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon without a rollbox by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon, which I think is super cool. This is going to be Manaphy's replacement, and it's really going to help those Pokemon without rollboxes, which I mean, it pretty much helps almost every Pokemon that's just a normal Pokemon. The only thing that's not going to be protected on the bench now are going to be non-Terra EXs. So I also want to draw attention to this Crustle. If you guys are playing Stall, Crustle has Mysterious Stone House, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's EX. Even though it is an evolved Pokemon from Deeble or Debble, Crustle does have a pretty good stall effect. We have Appleton, Dipplin, and Hydrapple, which are all I just love this line. It's really cool. But Hydrapple does do an attack called Hydro Breath for 6 basic energy. Discard it from your hand. You can knock out one of your opponent's active Pokemon. It doesn't do anything unless you can discard the 6 basic energy, but that is wildly broken. This is nice. And I think this one also has an SAR we can look at. Pokemon's getting new forms, new cards this set. They all have the initial dance move, which lets you accelerate a grass energy onto one of your Pokemon. And then they all have an attack that does like massive damage or a good amount of damage. As we go on, I really want to just draw light to both Ethan's Quilava and Typhlosion. Ethan's Quilava, the boy, may search your deck for 1 Ethan's Adventure, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Ethan's Adventure is a really good supporter card that we'll talk about later that just basically accelerates your Ethan deck even more. And Ethan's Quilava lets you just search for 1 automatically. And then Ethan's Typhlosion, Buddy Blast. It does 40 damage and then 60 more damage for each of Ethan's Adventure card in your discard pile. So for a maximum of 280 damage, Typhlosion can knock out most basic most EXs at that point. We also have Slugma and Macargo. Slugma's just super chill. but it's really Macargo, which when it doesn't have any energy attached to it, has no retreat cost. But also have Lava Burst for 3 fire energies, the 70 damage, discard up to 5 fire energy from this Pokemon, and attacks is 70 damage for each of the cards discarded this way. So it's doing upwards of 350 damage. And you're wondering, how are you gonna get all these fire energies on these Pokemon? Well, do not fret. You have Ethan's Ho-Ho EX with the ability Golden Flame. Once during your turn, you may attach up to 2 basic fire energies from your hand to one of your bench Ethan's Pokemon. So you can do Macargo, you can do Typhlosion. We can go all the way back up and do it with the Princer. Like, that is some good synergy with the trainer, or with the EX, which is more of a support EX. It also heals 50 damage on its attack. So even if you have to attack with it, you could be healing damage off of your opponent, out of your Pokemon. The next trainer we're going to talk about is Misty. So Misty Psyduck, Slapstick Jump. Once during your turn, this Pokemon's on your bench, you may discard the bottom card of your deck, and if you do, discard all cards attached to this Pokemon and put it on top of it. You'll be wondering, why are we doing such silly thing? I'll show you why in a minute. Oh, I was about to say, you guys can't even see the Psyduck. My bad, guys. Slapstick Jump. Sorry, guys. But let's get back down here and look at Starmie, which has Sudden Flash. When it evolves from Misty Staryu, it does an additional 80 damage plus the 60 is doing. So that's 140. That's 2-hit KOing most EX Pokemon. So you get 2 little Staryus out, and for the prize trade, you go boop, boop, attack, and then doop, boop, attack. That's not bad. But I think the real killer is Misty's Gyarados. One, Misty Magikarp has an ability that protects itself from damage on the bench, which is really cool. But Misty's Gyarados' first attack, Splash Panic, for 1 water energy, it does 70 times damage, and it discards the top 7 cards of your deck, and that attack does 70 damage times the amount of Misty Pokemon you find it. If you were to buddy poffing out all of your Psyducks and stack them all up, you're doing 280 with Gyarados, but doing upwards to 490. That's pretty good. And then we have Misty Slappers, which is just a swim together, search your deck for 3 Misty Pokemon, reveal them, put them to your hand, shuffle your deck, so you can get your Psyducks out that way. That's pretty cool. But now we are getting into the champions Pokemon. Cynthia's Melodic is doing Aqua Splits for a water and a colorless. Is doing 60 damage, but 30 damage to 2 your opponent's bench Pokemon, knocking out little Bedoos, starting putting damage counter on other Pokemon to get easier KOs. Melodic is definitely going to be a card. But let's see what else we got here going on. So, the Donzo EX. I really like this first attack, Tsunami Reversal. It does 30 damage and then 10 damage for each of the damage counters on it. And the Dynamic Dive does 120, and then it can make it 240 if you do 50 damage to yourself. So I really like that Dondozo can self-damage itself to use both of its attacks to the best of efficiency, and I really like that. We got Electivire EX with the Dual Bolt attack. It does 50 damage to 2 your opponent's Pokemon. Doesn't apply weakness and resistance to the bench Pokemon. But it also have High Voltage Press, 180 damage, and it has at least 2 extra energies attached. It does 280, which is knocking out. Those are knockout numbers. I'm sorry. Like, when I noticed the math on some of these attacks, and if you can do 1 attack for knockout, I think you start becoming a viable deck. You need a support engine to really help you get that damage out. But when you're telling me that you can do 280 off of 1 attack, it might be 5 energy, but we can see what we can do with it. Up next is Ethan's Pichu. It does 30 damage for free, unless you draw a card. It's gonna be a really good support Pokemon for the deck, and probably the first Pokemon you want to throw out. As we keep going, we have Rotom. Rotom's second attack, Gadget Show, does 30 times the damage for each every Poke Tool attached to all your Pokemon. Pair this up with Rotom EX that can have 4 tools, and you start grouping those up, you can do upwards of, let's see, 12 times 3 is 360, 3,600 damage. We also got Ethan's Sudowoodo with attempted mimicry for 2 colorless energies. Flip a coin if heads, choose one of your opponent's active attacks and use as this attack. Not something that you're definitely going to be using all the time, but I like the little reference to Ethan's adventures that he gets a Sudowoodo. It's really cool. The cool thing about Ethan's Pokemon is that they're all fire types except for the Pokemon that he would get on his journey to the end. Like Sudowoodo and Pinsir are both Pokemon that he can catch in Johto from events, and that's pretty cool. Next up is the pair of Gabite and Garchomp. Cynthia's Gabite has Champion's Call. You can search your deck for one of Cynthia's Pokemon and reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck. So you can either fetch out the Garchomp, you can fetch out the Roserade, you can get the Melodic, you can get the other Pokemon from Cynthia's toolkit. But if you grab the Cynthia's Garchomp EX, for 1 fighting energy, it's doing 100 damage and lets you draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. And then for 2 fighting, it's doing 260, and you're discarding all energies attached to this Pokemon. This is 330 HP. And with Cynthia's signature tool, which we'll get to when we get to the trainer, that can go up to higher HP. And it's definitely OHKOing a lot of stuff for just Dragon Buster. Okay, let's see. Let's keep going. So we have Cynthia's Spiritomb, which does Raging Curse. It does 10 times the damage for every damage counter attached to every damage counter on your bench Cynthia's Pokemon. So that's really dangerous. You can let a lot of your Pokemon get loaded up on damage, leave them on bench, and then start using Spiritomb to start knocking out Pokemon. Really good. Our last trainer that we're going to talk about today is going to be Arven. And Arven's whole entire motif is going to be about healing damage. And we're going to see it a lot in Mabasta. Hustle Tackle does 30 damage and does 120 more if the Pokemon has no damage counter on it. And then for triple colorless, it is doing 210. Not really impressive. You are knocking out like Phesandipides. You can boss order up a lot of the smaller Pokemon EXs. But the cool thing about it is like a lot of Arven's cards heal. So as we keep going down, we see Arven's Grevident. It has Greedy Order. It lets you when you play the Pokemon, you can you can add 2 Arven sandwiches from your discard pile to your hand. And we will get to the item cards, but that's really good. Now, item card. So we have Sacred Ash, shuffle through 5 Pokemon from your discard pile to your deck is like a super rod on steroids. Arven Sandwich, it heals 30 damage from your active Pokemon, but if that Pokemon is an Irving Pokemon, it heals 100 damage. So you can see how my false boss lines up with the sandwich. Another signature move or signature item is Cynthia's Power Wave. The Cynthia's Pokemon that this card attached to gets 70 HP, and that is crazy. That's putting Garchomp up at 400. That is way too high. NC Micah, do we get a judge? Now we get Ethan's Adventure. We get to search our deck up for any 3 combination of Ethan's Pokemon and basic fire energies, reveal them and put them to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. That is so good. Like that's 3 combinations of Ethan's Pokemon and fire energies. You can grab one Ho-Oh and 2 fire energies to be able to use his ability. Search for Macargo and all of them. My review of the set as we look at the SRs and the SSRs. I think this is a really cool set. We have 3 playable trainers out of 4. I think the only one who's not the best is Arven's Pokemon. But other than that, this is a pretty good set with 3 really good decks being added to the meta. At least 3 new decks being added to the meta. Let me change that. This is pretty chill. Some of the arts that we're beginning, we have Irving's Mapu's Boss's SR, which is really pretty. Misty's side deck, the cornerstone of her deck, has a really pretty art rare. Her just swimming with the side deck. And then we have for the boys, Ethan's Typhlosion. Crazy. And for the boys, we have Ethan's Typhlosion, the GOAT. It looks so nice. Okay, guys. If you guys like this set, hit me with a like and let me know what your favorite card out this set is going to be. If you guys want more Pokemon news, make sure you hit this video with a like and let me know what type of content do you guys want. This is Metro Nerd Mars on the Metro Nerds Gaming channel, and I'm out.